more harsh language with the people who shut down the protests than there were for the people who were punching individuals in the face for observing their free speech. And this is another thing. When the Charleston massacre happened and this hateful individual, this white teen, went into a church, into a Bible study, and massacred 9 people, I knew that the beautiful action that the families of those slain individuals exhibited in forgiving the killer out of hand was going to be weaponized against black people and people of color eventually. What I did not expect for it to come from was Hillary Clinton, like a Democratic individual. So like here we have, and this is just an example, like Hillary Clinton using the Charleston example to say that, to essentially imply that protesters shouldn't stand up to hate and that they should be the ones to initiate forgiveness. Protesters who have constantly been, you see the individual last week, who's the girl who's being pushed around and called the N-word. You have the guy who was punched in the face this week and the guy said, next time I'll kill him. You have members of the press being drop kicked too. You have members of the press being manhandled by the campaign manager of the front runners campaign, manhandling members of the press. And you have people who would stand up to that, and you want to have more strong language towards them than you have the people who have been just so vile and so violent from the get-go. I reject that, and I commend the people who had the courage to go in there and let their voices be heard. And if Donald Trump wants to back out of his own event because he's scared to face the very people that he's been insulting, whose very safety he's been threatening by saying, I'm going to pay the legal bills of whoever assaults that person. I want to take these protesters out in stretchers. I really want to punch this guy in the face. These are all quotes that you can look up yourself. If you guys want to be more mad at protesters than you are the person who created an environment where people felt that they needed to be heard in those spaces, then that's fine. But you also need to understand, Donald Trump has had so much coverage. If you turn on the TV, you see him. If you go on any website, you see him. You see the latest hateful thing that he has said this week. And he's able to double, triple down on that by calling into these shows. And a lot of people feel they have nowhere else to go and no other outlet than to go to the epicenter of this hate speech and stand up to it. I commend their bravery. It's very scary. They have been the ones who have been assaulted. They're the ones who have been bloodied. And quite honestly, I commend their bravery. So let's talk about the media. Let's talk about the media in this. It is their job to report, and this is the front runner, the current front runner of the GOP. So I understand they have to cover politics, but from the get-go, they have given this particular presidential candidate more coverage than they have any other one. They've allowed this individual to call in, to phone a friend, to text message, to email. They read the tweets. Even if he's not actively engaged, we see his voice. We see some of the vile things. We see some element of the vile things that he puts out there to his supporters. And they could say, well, we're just reporting. Well, I do reject that as well. So when you go on these shows, there already are parameters that they set, perhaps to preserve so they don't have to pay extra fees. But you know that if you go on CNN or you go on a CBS News or at 6 o'clock news or whatever, you know that you can't say certain things. You can't use the N-word. You can't use certain cuss words. You know that's off limits. And you know, as a visitor to those shows, and you're reminded that there can be repercussions for using certain language, certain cuss words or vile language on live network television. There are repercussions. Your interview can be cut short as a result of using that language. So there are parameters that media sets, and I'm just wondering why there can be parameters set on not saying certain cuss words, and people don't have the bravery to cut off an interview where somebody's saying we need to deport Muslims for being Muslim, or why someone can't say we're not going to allow you to sit here and call Mexican Americans rapists. We're not going to allow that. That is something that I haven't seen too much from journalists, and they don't stand up to that, and this person is able to spread this vile language much more effectively that way. So for protesters to come and stand up to that is very brave. They are displaying a courage that is not really being exhibited by the media or other political candidates, in my opinion. So I commend them. We do not need to apologize and initiate healing for somebody who has said our lives don't matter, we're rapists, we need to be deported. But let's talk about solutions at this point. So I understand that a lot of people are angry, and a lot of this person's supporters, a lot of Donald Trump supporters are angry at the economy, at their circumstances. But the solution to your problems can't be deporting Mexicans, banning Muslim Americans who serve in our military, who are normal Americans just like everybody else, and black people need to go back to Africa. If you believe those things, then we honestly, if you believe those things, we can't work with you. If you think that the solution to your problems is that minorities need to leave, or if you view the equality, people fighting towards equality, the equality of minorities being your oppression, then we can't work together. If somebody having the same access and privileges to education is oppression to you, then we can't work together. Your worldview is skewed, and it's quite frankly wrong. If your solution to getting a job is deporting people who are not like you, who are brown, then we can't really work together. We can work together in trying to fight to get more jobs, trying to get the economy going. Those are discussion points we can have, but we're not going to sit here and debate whether or not Mexicans are rapists. They're not. We're not going to sit here and allow black protesters to be punched in the face. We're not going to sit there and allow black people who are just standing around at Trump rallies to be assaulted, thrown out, called the N-word. We're not going to allow that. None of us are going to stand for that. A lot of people are saying as well, oh, they shouldn't protest, they should just vote. No, you can do both. You can protest someone who is putting hate speech out there and promoting violence against people who disagree with him. You can most definitely protest, and we can also settle this at the ballot box. I will do a video, at least for the state of Florida, on how to register to vote. If you haven't registered for the primary already, we'll get you on track for the general election. I will talk about the ID that you need to register to vote, because that is important. This will be settled in the ballot box. I am not a registered Republican. Obviously, I can't, and Republicans really have to hash this problem out for themselves. But the person who is their front runner has, from day one, his platform started, he kicked it off by saying Mexicans are rapists and they're bad people. And then he doubled down on that. Then he came back saying Muslims need to be deported. And then he's been largely silent as black people have been assaulted in his rallies. Punched, kicked, bloodied. He has been silent. So the protesters in Chicago, I commend you for going right in the center of the problem and standing up to it and really shutting it down. We're going to be all right. But with that, we're going to have to work together. I understand a lot of people are angry. I'm upset as well. We're not all 100% on board with where this country is at this moment, but the solution cannot be mutually assured destruction. But people standing up to hate is not oppression. The people who are perpetrating hate and violent behavior are the source of the problem, and it is not contingent upon the people who are the target of that hate to heal the people who are hateful towards them. It is not my duty to convince you to be peaceful towards me. If you want to assault me, it's not on me to heal you. You need to heal yourselves. You need to look within yourself and come back to us when you get it. But yeah, that's my video. I really hope that we're able to have a good discussion on this and move forward. I'm pretty sure I'll write something, I'll link it when I do. But yeah, this is really important what happened. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're being hateful, your comments won't get published, so don't even worry about it. Alright, have a good one. I will see you next week.